won't wanna be there for you until they're not there for you. Until they approach that line and their mind pollute. Conclusions of grandeur and fear assumes. No wonder we're broken and bruised, feeling consumed. Despair and time is fucked up and used. Lord, will we ever know? Oh no, I think it might be time for you to go away. Oh no, I think it might be time for you to go away.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Hello, my brothers and sisters.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. We got a great show for you tonight. We got Kevin from Kind Clean here with us.
Oh, yeah. Representing.
Yeah. So you called into the show last week, and we were kind of talking about Kratom.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What is it about that? Like, what the Kratom deal? Like, why are you so into the Kratom thing? Like, what is it about Kratom?
I've had chronic pain for many moons. Started off going, the typical medical route, trying to curb my pain because my L4, L5, L5, S1 in my spine were herniated. So it hit my sciatic nerve and did a lot of damage, permanent nerve damage to myself. So I went through pain management. Their suggestions were pain meds, Valium, muscle relaxers, and you should enjoy your life. So, sitting there drooling on myself, not being able to function as a human being, I pondered why. Why do I have to go this route? Why do I have to take these pills? So, obviously, I've been a long-time advocate of cannabis. So, I've been partaking in that for a very long time, and as I started spilling into trying to deal with my pain management, I obviously was supplementing cannabis along with that. Went to get my script for my pain meds, and I was given a cup to go pee in. So I obviously knew I was going to pee dirty. As I was sitting in the room waiting for, that's what they said when they came in.
Yeah.
When I was waiting in the room, it was like a half an hour before anybody came in, and I'm like, okay, something's going on. So in comes the doctor, in comes the nurse. You piss dirty. There's marijuana in your system. You signed yourself a nice little agreement here. Do you recognize your signature right there? Yeah, that's mine. You're not supposed to be doing cannabis and the narcotics.
That's a great impression.
Thank you. I worked very hard on that too. So she looked at me and she said, you know what? You can either continue taking these narcotics or you can continue with cannabis. So I got up, I walked out, and I started self-medicating with cannabis. Along the lines, I started hearing about Kratom. It's along the coffee bean family. So it was a natural, I guess I call it a multi-tool because it does quite a few different things for me. Everybody's different. But basically it helps me out with my mood to help me dealing with extreme pain. I'm talking pain up around 12 on the scale.
Yeah.
Like I just want to crawl out of my skin. I drink this stuff, 15 minutes later, pain's gone. I'm chill. I'm happy. I could do cartwheels, smacking my wife off the butt, all that good stuff. I'm in a way better mood. I'm a better person. It's non-psychoactive for me, so I can go about my day and enjoy myself. You know what I mean?
That's cool, yeah. It's crazy because they said you pissed hot. Like they said, whatever the terminology they use, which is insane for weed, right? But, they want to recommend you all these chemicals and whatever. You could probably piss hot for alcohol and a whole galaxy of things that they wouldn't care about. But it's weed that's the problem, it seems like. And it's interesting because you found sort of plants to help you with these things, whether it's cannabis or whether it's kratom, that's helping you get off of these medications that are chemicals and pushed on you by doctors. And what do you think it is about that, like, that they don't want to hear? They don't want to hear that some plant can do the same things as these things that they're selling for these exorbitant prices with through the pharmaceutical industry. Like, what is that?
It's just greed. I mean, it's easier to control pharmaceuticals than it is a natural substance that's going to grow in certain areas of the world without any help from human beings.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, healthy patients don't make money. So that's what it boils down to. You know, they want to keep us healthy enough to stay alive, just long enough to consume.
It seems like that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, as long as you're able to just, like, keep feeding their pockets and just keep spending money on the shit, like, as long as they can kick the can down the road and patch up these things that are going on, like, it doesn't seem, health doesn't seem to be really part of the equation. But then, you know, you start using some of these plant substances, like you were saying you were a vegan.
Yeah.
Right? And you're using plant substances to sort of manage your health in a way that, like, you find that chemicals have drawbacks to. And do you think there's, like, a certain aspect of pharmaceutical industry, like money making, that they see this and they see that as a threat? Like, they see cannabis and kratom as a threat. And the reason I bring that up is because when I look at, like, the schedule of it, like, it's Schedule 1, cannabis is Schedule 1 through the federal government. And it's still not legal through the federal government. There's certain states, I think it's like, what, like half the states now? About?
Yeah, I'd say
something?
under that. Yeah, I
This-
don't have an exact number, but, you know, and even those states are governed ridiculously. I mean, in all honesty, in Boston alone, they're not allowing these great micro businesses to come out and actually support the community.
Yeah.
They're allowing the bigger companies to come out there, start up their projects, while these other guys have to go through a grueling process of having all their ducks in a row, having buildings and everything paid for before they can even permit the state to get a license to be able to do what they want to do. I mean, great companies like River and Gardens, Deep Roots, Beantown, Greentown, you know, they're not able to do what they need to do. And the sad part about it is these entities are the people that are supporting the people that can't afford medication. I've seen not just these three groups, but a lot of groups give out cannabis to people that can't afford it.
Yeah.
These aren't the big boards or the corporations that are helping the people out at need. You're getting people that are local that are seeing these people in these towns that need help, and they go on and they help them. You know, it's a great feeling to be a part of, and it's sad to watch a lot of these people fall to the wayside because they've invested their whole life
I
savings
know.
into going into the white market and doing it right. And
They just don't have the money. They don't have, like, the influence and the push that some of these bigger companies have.
Oh.
And what is it, like, the government gets behind sort of like some of these people with, like, the more money and the more influence?
yeah, because they're a board of rich people who go along with the one percenters who actually run this country and dictate what happens to all of us.
Yeah, which is fucking crazy to consider that.
It is. It's scary.
It is really, really scary to consider that, like, the people that are really in charge in this country, the people that we vote into office, like, actually care about more supplementing their constituents or you know, being on the side of more putting money in the constituents' pockets than actually helping Americans. That's shocking to consider. That's like,
Well, I believe our government is more of a veil. I believe they're more puppets. They're there to make us think that we have any say in anything
It's
that
an
goes on
illusion,
in
you
our
think?
life. Yeah, it's the smoke and mirrors kind of thing. The president and all these other people are just puppets, and they're doing what the one percenters are wanting them to do. Dude, if you really
horrible.
even
Like, how do
okay,
you
break
sleep
it
at
down
night?
to like the food industry. When I started going vegan, I watched a show on Netflix called What the Health.
I've seen this, yeah.
And this gentleman went around and he went to the ADA, he went to the American Heart Association, and he started asking them, we've done a lot of scientific research on meat, dairy, so on and so forth, and it's not really good for our bodies. if you truly care about us, why are you still suggesting that we eat them? They immediately, well, only the ADA decided to do an interview with him. And as soon as he got down to a question like that, the guy said, I don't want to fight, started taking off the microphone, and he was out. He's like, I'm done with this conversation. Now, when he went back and started researching the ADA, the AHA, and who their biggest sponsors are, who are they? Tyson, all these huge food conglomerates. So they're not going to tell us don't eat meat, dairy, so on and so forth, because they're injecting these animals with all kinds of chemicals and growth hormones and so on and so forth because they support them.
Yeah. So it's just they're funneling money into the pockets more than plant-based, I guess, industries would be. What do you think about the idea of like people would say, like the protractors to veganism, they would kind of say like, yeah, but we didn't evolve on a vegan diet though. Like we evolved as hunter gatherers. Like we've had meat and animal products in our diet for hundreds of thousands of years. Like why
True.
would that be
To a
gonna kill you
limitation.
now?
So up until recently, food did not come to us like we have it so easily in the markets.
Yeah.
Most people did not get meat on a regular basis. All they had was potatoes, starches, and vegetables to live on.
Like for hundreds of thousands of
Yeah,
years?
even milk. It was a hot commodity. People did not drink this stuff on a regular basis. Look, a lot of this stuff is propaganda made to you believe that we need these things. Okay, that's all it is. Where do animals get protein from? What do animals eat? What does a cow eat? Does it eat another animal?
Well, it adapted on that. But what about like some of these animals that are in our environment who adapted, omnivores who adapted to eating meat? Like to me, when I consider like taking an animal out of its natural environment, like bringing it to a zoo, like the idea to me would be to feed it the diet that it's become accustomed to, that its DNA had adapted on this planet to. So if like we were to look at a human is a hunter-gatherer. It did meat, it did vegetables, it did a lot of things. So if you were to take a human out of its natural environment and put it in a zoo, I think the idea would be to feed it its natural diet. And if you're going to feed it a vegan diet, I feel like that's not its natural diet. I feel like that's like something, it's like an experiment that we're like trying to do on this animal.
Okay. So my experience in this is I was a meat eater, big time. Loved cheese. Cheese was like blood to me. I cheese on everything.
Yeah, cheese
like
is delicious.
We had milk for breakfast. We had milk for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Type 2 diabetes, on 2 different diabetic medications, high blood pressure.
You putting that on meat though? You putting that on the milk? You think? You put on the animal product?
So I stopped eating meat and stopped eating dairy, and 6 months later I'm off all of my medication.
Yeah, but you started eating more of a healthier diet, right? Like you're eating like more
Vegetables.
Vegetables and things that don't like, because really diabetes, it seems like something that's like a sugar problem, right?
That's what they would like you to believe?
It's not so do you think it's not a problem with the body processing sugar?
Well,
Like,
I
you think
mean,
it's meat
anything
that's the
in
problem?
high doses for us is not good anyways. I mean,
Yeah.
even water.
You can die from water.
We drink too much water. We're going to
You can die
drown.
from that.
Yeah. So, basically, everything that you need for protein, you can put vegetables together and get that protein.
Okay.
You don't have to have meat. Like I
Do you
said,
think that meat is bad for you? Do you think it's like poison?
I believe it is. I believe you have an instant negative reaction when you consume
Pick
meat.
up your phone.
So how would you like
Yeah, guys.
How would you
do have a
res-
caller?
how would you respond to the
Hello,
idea
caller.
that we've been eating meat forever and
Hello.
that's part of our diet?
Hello.
This is my dad again. Here we go. Okay,
Yeah,
go
I'm calling
ahead.
about the show.
Go ahead. What do you got?
I see
He's
you
gonna
getting your
call
ass
up and
handed
bust
to you
my
by your
balls. He's a
guest.
vegan. My dad's a
So-
vegan.
Oh, sweet, sweet.
I see you getting your ass handed to you by your guest, so I just had to call
Okay,
in and
we'll
bust your
see.
balls a little bit.
Okay, what is
Gotta
it?
love that. Gotta love that. My dad loves busting my balls too,
Yeah,
so that's awesome.
This is what I deal with. Go ahead. What is it?
Your guest is absolutely right, by the way. I agree with everything he said. Kevin,
Okay.
you're absolutely right.
Thank you, sir.
I'm the same way. I switched over to a vegan diet a few years back due to health reasons. Cholesterol was through the roof. I was on heart medication, all kinds of stuff, and totally cleared that up.
Okay, yeah, I think it's
Congratulations.
that's because you're eating healthy. You're not doing fast food. You're not doing a bunch
No, I'm
of
not
things.
doing that. No colas, no sodas,
Right.
Yep,
no
no
nothing.
soda.
No, it's
Of
true.
course,
I've
your health is going
completely
to
changed
clear
diet.
up. Why is that meat though? Why is that animals that made that happen?
Okay, so
Well, I mean, there's no
my buddy.
question that cholesterol comes from animal products, right?
Yeah, but
I
why
mean,
is
we know that.
cholesterol bad? If we've had cholesterol in our diet for hundreds of
Why is it
thousands of
bad?
years,
Well,
why
my
is it
cholesterol
suddenly?
was approaching 300.
But why is
and
that
the
bad?
doctor put me on statins,
Why is that bad
and
though?
now that why is that bad?
Yeah, because the medical industry has convinced you that cholesterol is suddenly this like poison that you can't put in your body, and now it's bad. And
I think
he's
we've
putting
known
you on a
this for
drug.
years that high cholesterol, gives you a lot of health problems. You can die from high.
Well,
cholesterol.
there's a lot of ideas that high cholesterol is actually good for you because cholesterol.
Well, I know there's a lot of ideas that we also live on a flat planet. I mean,
Well, that's a
yeah,
false
yeah,
equivalency, but there's cholesterol is very important in your body, right? It's the one thing that promotes
Well, there's-
hormones.
there's
It creates
good and
hormones.
there's bad cholesterol. Mine
All-
was the bad cholesterol that was approaching levels that were. He put me on statins because he was afraid I was going to have a.
Okay,
you know,
we're gonna
heart
get
condition.
into this like
I did.
ideological, like crazy debate right now, but I just find it hard to believe that the diet we evolved on, which is hunter-gatherers for our entire existence, is now suddenly poison. I don't buy it. I just
That's
don't.
not the. See, you've been led to believe that, but like your guest pointed out, that's truly not the diet we evolved on.
It's not.
So
So
I
we
know
didn't
you believe
evolve as
that. I know
hunter-gatherers.
you believe
No,
that,
we
but
did.
it's truly
So the
not,
scientists are
truly
wrong.
not the diet.
Is that what you're saying?
Huh?
The scientists are wrong.
I'm not
All the
sa-
scientists who
I'm
say we
saying that
evolved
your
as
information that you have that
hunter-gatherers,
we
they're wrong.
evolved as hunter-gatherers is wrong. Yes.
Okay, because you're a vegan, right? And you can't believe that. Is that what it is?
No, I'm just telling you the truth. I mean, it's been that's the stuff that's
Okay.
put out there to make you believe that we're
Right.
supposed to eat meat.
Right, and you're a vegan, and as a vegan, you believe that because that goes along with your belief system, right? Is that kind of
And
what's
just
going
the
on?
opposite, I could say to you. You believe what you believe because it goes along with your belief system.
Yeah, because that's how we evolved. We evolved eating animals, and now suddenly you're saying that
That's what
animals are
you
going to
say.
kill you?
I mean, no, they look. They evolved eating.
We
anything
didn't
they
evolve
could
as
because
eating- as
basically
being
They
hunter-gatherers.
didn't have a store to go to, so they ate whatever they found: ants, roaches.
That's how they
feces,
evolved.
Whatever was
Squirrel.
available.
And now it's going to kill them. Now it's poison.
Well,
Are you
these
sure?
squirrels and these ants and these deer
Sure.
were not injected with chemicals either
That's
from
the
the
thing.
government.
That's true too.
That's the
meat
thing.
So
industry
my
has
buddy
changed.
just went to
that's
Ireland.
actually
He has
That's a good
stomach issues and he can't consume dairy or meat. He went to Ireland, and all they have over there is
Dairy
pretty
and
much dairy and meat, and he could eat it all
Yeah.
and did not have one
That's true.
stomach
It's because
issue
of
when
the
he went
poisons
there.
and shit that are injected. See,
on the other
that's a
side
good
of the
point.
argument, on the other side of the argument, it's true. The meat we have today, and if you don't buy the good kind, is all garbage. And there
I
is
can see
something to
that.
that too. It's been injected with everything, and so
So
There
and
is
look
that,
at the
right? It's
Indians back in the day when they would gather and hunt and gather, and yes, they were hunters and gatherers. They yet again didn't consume chemical-filled meat, but
That's
they
true.
also killed the animal themselves.
That's true.
They prayed and said, "Thank you for
That's
blessing
exactly
us with
right.
substance."
Right.
And they used
that
every
prayer
part of that
did it.
animal.
I mean, that's the problem. We
That's
don't
right.
pray when we eat them now. It's that prayer that took care of it. See, if we started
No.
praying again before we eat it, that's what we need to
No,
do.
but I think there's something to be said about appreciation. You know, rather than going through a Burger King drive-through and getting a Whopper and being like, "Yeah, thanks," and throwing half it away and fuck it. Like, there's a certain amount of thing to be said about appreciation for where you're
Well,
going.
first of all, they only killed to survive, right? They didn't
Yeah.
kill because they enjoyed killing.
No.
They
Yeah.
killed because they needed to survive.
for hundreds
I mean-
of thousands of years, but now that's poison
they-
though, because the government said so.
No, when it changed
No.
over to where they were, dude, Monsanto, they are in control of our food. Like, they are huge into our food, and they're a chemical company.
Oh, sure.
So, like,
No one's, dude, no
no,
one's.
I know, no. But, like, yet again, go with the moderation thing, okay? Like, anything in huge amounts is going to do damage
Sure.
to your
Sure.
body.
You're just saying water.
Absolutely true.
So, like, if you do decide to have a meat diet, that's your path. Everybody has that choice to do that. But from what I know, my biggest turning point was watching my brother, who did not really have any ideals of what he should be consuming, just kind of go crazy with his diet, and he ended up passing away from diabetic related issues, and I watched him pass away on the floor. So, like, that was between my health and really researching how we get our food has really opened my eyes as to what I put into my body.
Sure. Have you ever heard of the ketogenic diet? Like
Mm-hmm.
people that like do that, and basically what that is a very low carbohydrate, very high fat, and they do
Yeah, it's
animal
kind of
carbs.
like the when you put your body into a state of ketosis.
right, and you're on fat.
Yeah,
right?
it's like the modified Atkinson's diet.
Right. And if you look at their the blood profile, or anybody who's been doing that for that amount of time, like this usually, their diet, like their blood sugar goes down, all their like health markers and shit usually goes down.
It does.
And it also goes down on a vegan diet. So it makes me wonder, like, is animals really the problem here,
So-
or is it like sugar?
Here, let me
and
break
all
it
the
down to
bullshit?
you on like more of a lab type thing. Okay, I did the meat, high meat, so on and so forth, and my triglycerides were 1,300.
Okay.
But the high end of that spectrum is 300.
Mm-hmm.
So my doctor, when he got my blood report back, he was like, "Holy crap!"
See, the exact
So
opposite happened to me.
I went to, I had drinking the juice and I was following all this. I went and I got diabetic education, and they told me, here's what you should eat. You need to have meat. You need to have this. You need to have that. I followed that diet for years, and my health did not get
You had
any
low
better.
carbohydrates while you were doing this? Like, you didn't eat starches?
I had low carbs. Very low. Dude, I was monitoring exactly what was going into my body.
Really?
That
That's
ended
your
up screwing
genetics.
me.
Yeah, that's your genetics.
And that's what I said. Everybody's body's different, and everybody is
Yeah,
going to
everybody's
react differently.
That's true. You're not going to get the same results for everybody by doing any diet. That's true.
I've met
But
vegans that have been
I
vegan
think-
forever
at least
and
I
went to
hope
meat.
Adam will agree that with this point, people eat too much meat.
Yeah.
Whether it's good or bad, we can argue about that. But people
Well-
eat meat. They wake up in the morning, right? They have bacon. Then for lunch, they have something else with meat in it. Then for dinner, they have something else with meat in it.
Well,
Having
I think,
that much meat
I
throughout
think,
the day is not good for you.
I don't know. I think if you're doing that with the carbohydrates really low, I don't see that as a problem, because really the problem that you're talking about is like saturated fat and cholesterol, right? Like that seems to be the big huge problem. Well, all saturated, all cholesterol does, dude, in your body is deal with inflammation, right? So if you're eating a bunch of sugar and putting a bunch of drugs and a bunch of shit in your body that's inflaming your body, and then also eating a lot of cholesterol along with that, of course you're going to run into problems. But if you're not doing those things, your sugar's low, you can see it just in the blood work of people who do the ketogenic diet. They don't have these fucking problems that like the vegans are pointing out, because they're not
I would
inflaming
love
their
to
body.
compare my blood work with anybody on the keto
I've done
diet,
it.
because I know mine will be better.
Okay, well,
know mine will be better.
maybe it is, and I'm not trying to, in the risk of like coming off like one of these like fucking charlatans for the ketogenic diet. Like, I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate, because anytime I hear anybody say, if someone was here saying that they were on the ketogenic diet and it was like God's end all be all to everything, and this is how you be healthy, I'd be busting their balls about that too. I just this is just something.
It's these extremes. It's these extremes. People always like to take it to extremes. Like first it's an all meat diet, then it's a no meat diet, then it's a this diet, then it's a that diet.
Yeah.
And I think there does need to be some moderation, and I'll even concede that I have added a slight bit of meat back to my diet. I'm going to go and concede that, but it's a very small portion. It's 4 ounces of fish that I have once a week now.
See, I'm
And,
scared of that.
Just because
Is
of
it the
the
moral
just stuff you
conundrum?
get out of,
Well,
out of that you need out of the fish.
I don't like eating anything with a conscience, but dude,
I hear that.
there's
I really do, dude.
there's plastic and Fukushima has been dumping into our oceans for years now. Like literally, I won't even touch anything from the ocean, and
Well, no,
that's how I
get
tailor
I
it
get
off.
the really good stuff. I go to Whole Foods and I get the real expensive stuff that's fresh caught. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
And just like if you were
wild.
to buy the meat that was the real expensive meat, stuff that's non shot with hormones and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
Hormones.
But since I only have a 4 ounce portion once a week, I buy a pound, and that's 4 portions for me. That's a whole month's worth of supply of meat for me. So
Yeah,
if
listen,
that
dude,
works
if
for you,
that's
brother,
working
that
for you-
works for you.
Yeah, if that's working for you, and me and this is my dad.
I'm just worried. I'm just worried about cholesterol myself, eating all of that, because it does clog your arteries.
yeah, but it didn't affect it. It only affected it so slightly. It hardly moved it at all. So I feel pretty comfortable with it. And I get my blood work done every 90 days.
Yeah, and I
So,
don't. I
I
actually
know-
haven't seen the doctor for a couple of years now.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
This is
my stuff's perfect. I mean, seriously. I mean, everything's good. So I'm just going to stick with what I know works. So.
Yeah, and what works for
I'll
you?
let
I mean,
guys,
it's
I don't
been.
want to hog up your show. I'm going to let you guys get back to it. You guys got on a subject I want to chime in on.
Yeah,
so.
we
That's
kind of
awesome.
got all crazy.
It was nice
on that.
talking to you.
Continue.
All
All right.
right.
Later.
Yeah, that's my dad. We get into this type of shit all
Thanks
the
for
time.
calling in, Dad.
Yep, absolutely.
Oh yeah,
And-
my dad busts my balls
All
on a
the
regular
time.
basis,
All the
even when
time.
it's unjustified.
Yeah.
But that's what dads do, man. They're there to challenge us, and they're there to
Yeah.
make us better. Is what it boils down to.
Yeah.
If they didn't care, they wouldn't say anything, and
Yeah.
that's you know, how I look at it with my kids. My kids are always, you're mean, you know, you don't want me to have fun. No, dude, I want you to have fun. I want you to be able to go and have fun and
Yeah.
not get in trouble. Like, this is what I'm trying to show you what to do here. Like,
Yeah.
toe the line guy, you know, and you won't have an issue. But, you know, it's a part of being a dad. You know, you love your kids, you want better for your kids. We don't force this upon our children. You know, I mean, if our kids want to eat meat, they eat meat. You know, and that's what that boils down. It's a personal choice, and
Yeah.
it's just for me. My life became 100% better, dude, when I went plant-based.
That's
100%, and I've enjoyed my life because there's so many options out there now. Like you said when we first started talking, what do you eat in the morning? Salad? Well, that's what people
like, no,
like when
bro.
people started first becoming vegans and there wasn't all of these things on the market. That's what they would do. They would make do with what they had to not, you know, cut off Bambi's face and prance around with it while eating its heart. Like,
So is that really the is it like a moral conundrum for you?
yeah, I really, they do have a conscience, man.
Yeah,
they,
I hear that.
We're
I really do.
vibrational, man. You go
Yeah,
to
yeah.
any slaughterhouse and stand there and
It's
tell me you
horrible.
don't feel the vibrations
do.
of fear and scared.
good.
Because they just pack them all on rum and they use
Yeah.
a machine. They pick them up and they just cut their throats. It's just a disgusting, disturbing process.
It
They
is.
drive fork trucks into these animals and stuff like
It's
that. I
terrible.
mean, it's really bad, you know. And our commercial farming industry, and like your dad, like if we were to eat cheese or eggs, and I think that's as far as I would go, we would
Because
have
there's
to
no
visit
death.
the farm.
There's no death in cheese and eggs.
Yeah, well, I mean, but there's rape in eggs and cheese.
What do you mean?
So, in order for a cow to produce milk, it
Yeah.
has to either be almost giving birth or have given birth.
Okay.
So they have a rack called a rape rack, and
my
they
God.
put the cow on it, and they artificially inseminate the cow to have a baby, so it can
It
produce
can produce
milk.
milk.
So after it delivers its baby, it yanks its baby away from it, which distresses
Listen,
both
this is
the
all
animal and
terrible.
the mother. And then they have the veal. They take the baby and they jam it in a cage so it can't stand up
I
or
know, I know.
get strong. And that's pretty. But look, all of that emotion and all that vibrational fear.
It's
and
going
like,
into your body.
It's going into the meat.
No, I
And you're
understand.
consuming that.
It's true.
So that's why we will go to a farm if we're going to consume those items and make sure that these animals
I
are being
appreciate
treated.
that.
But we haven't done that yet in 2 years.
I appreciate that because, like, I'm not as someone.
Well, going on 3 for me.
Yeah, as someone who's like not maybe advocating meat, I guess I sort of am, but I'm not trying to pretend like factory farming is awesome.
I totally can see you with a sign.
It's not.
Eat your meat. Eat your meat.
No, it's not. I mean, I kind of am because I think that it's important, but especially
man.
particularly the fat in meats. But no, I'm not one of
We
these.
do
dudes.
need fats. Our
Yeah.
brains need certain fats
It
and
absolutely
whatnot.
does, and I would say saturated fat and cholesterol. Like your brain is literally made out of
Yeah,
saturated
but
fat.
too
and
much
cholesterol.
is going to mess with you, too.
Okay.
You know, the oils, like even when cooking, we actually had a friend who's a dietitian, and she works with us. And she said we need to be cautious on using oils with cooking, too, because too many oils can have a negative effect on your brain. So you need to be cautious of how much oil you're taking, and that's including stuff like peanut butter and peanuts and stuff like that, because it all breaks down in your system and has a certain chemical reaction within your system.
Yeah, and dude, I'm not no like nutrition expert. I just go on like what I've seen in the past and like what the human animal has adapted on. And you know, when I hear that seems extreme to me. When I hear people say the diet that you've adapted on is now going to kill you, it's just like I'm not sure
No.
because we were talking about earlier how the government gets involved and they want to portray ideas that help them. And when I think about agriculture, when I think about sugar, when I think about your blood sugar flying all the sugar, I need more Doritos, I need more Pepsi, I need more. People on like the ketogenic diet don't have this idea of like I need all the time pizza and Doritos and Pepsi. And,
Well, because you take that that addictive chemical sugar out of the equation.
and I think that's
And that's
ve-
in everything, dude. Like literally everything that we consume, including what you're jamming in your mouth right now.
that you gave to me.
But you know, it's in everything, even bread. You know, pastas. It's really.
Yeah.
I mean, when
It's
we
sugar.
did a detox, we detoxed from everything. I
Good.
did a full body cleanse. I did a colon cleanse because baby got gas. and we definitely cleaned out our bodies, and my head felt the clearest ever. Like,
That's
I've
great.
never had a clearer head in my life after I detoxed from all of that processed stuff. And that's, I honestly think, the food-like items that we consume is what is a majority of our health problem. You know, like you said, all the Doritos, all of
Yeah,
the,
man.
all the gummy this, and you know, and then we need to have it in bucket loads.
Yeah, man. Regardless, like if you're on a vegan diet, if you're on whatever diet it is, as long as you're not eating Burger King and you're not drinking Pepsi and you're not drinking, just doing all this crazy shit that's obviously not good for you, I think what you're going to see is your blood work's going to start looking better, your health markers are going to start looking better, and it just comes down to what works in your body. Sometimes vegan works for people's genetics, sometimes it doesn't, sometimes keto does, sometimes it doesn't. And, you know, I think it's an interesting conversation that my old man called and busted my balls about, because this is the type of shit we argue about all the time on the regular. But yeah.
My friend's on the keto diet. She loves it.
Yeah.
She's had major success with it. She's lost a lot of weight, and she's pretty happy with herself,
And I'm
which
not.
is cool.
I eat pizza. I eat garbage. I eat bullshit because I'm addicted to the drug. It's literally
Well, it's
drugs.
convenience too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really convenient to have this processed stuff or stop by a pizza place because they pretty much have a slice ready for you. It takes 2 seconds to get a slice.
Exactly.
You know, it's really easy to consume and get by in today's society, but it's really hard to be healthy and have a well-balanced diet for ourselves. You know, so I don't know, man. Like I said to you before, everybody has their own path. I look down on nobody. You know, I mean,
You do what you do.
our souls are here to learn a lesson, you know, and we all need to learn it at our own pace. We all have a timeline of things that are going to happen in our lives and make changes in our life. And, you know, I mean, I am such a different person than I was a month ago to 5 years ago, you know, and we're
You learn.
constantly improving ourselves.
That's
And
right.
what you were talking about earlier about, you know, how can we survive off something that we've been doing for years? We can evolve. You know, I mean, I don't have wisdom teeth. I know I'm pretty, you know, not really wise right now, but I didn't have any wisdom teeth at all. My son had all 4, which is weird, but they call me evolved because I didn't have to go through that part, I guess. But I believe that every entity and every soul or entity that in this universe can adapt to their environment as long as it's not too extreme. You know what I mean?
That's something, even like particularly humans, like we've kind of shown that we're able to just, we literally evolved in an ice age, like where shit was freezing all the time and just like the most incredible, almost unmanageable situations. We somehow persevere. We made it happen. So when we talk about diet, I feel like a human can really, you know, as long as you're not living on garbage and like the shit we were talking about, I feel like you can do pretty good.
Yeah. Look
As
at it.
long-
Have you ever seen Ancient Aliens?
Of course. That's
So,
like-
you know, I mean, there's even back in Egyptian time, and they've underwater worlds and so on and so forth. Aliens have been here. They've helped us out.
you think so?
Oh yeah,
I love
dude,
that
come
you
on.
just said that.
Like, you honestly think that the pyramids could have been built like that, or
I don't.
No,
I've seen them with my own eyes. Like I've been to Egypt and seen the pyramids, like been
no
in them and shit.
way. And they have hieroglyphics of aliens and
Oh,
different
yeah.
species of what they called gods that came down
Yeah.
to Earth to help us out.
Yeah.
You
Like
know,
have
and
you
that's
ever
what it
heard the
boils down to.
concept of the Anunnaki?
Yep.
Like you ever heard that? Yeah. Which is an interesting thing because like literally, what is this? The Sumerians, the first ever civilization ever on Earth, that built like the most incredible structures, had like the most intense like geometric math equations and languages and shit that came out of really nowhere. Like it seemed to appear all of a sudden, and they worshipped these beings called the Anunnaki, which literally translates into English, those from the heavens to earth come. Which that's always seemed interesting to me. What are they talking about? What do you mean from the heavens to earth come? Why are you worshiping gods that from the heavens to earth come? What are they the first ever civilization that built all these, same thing with the pyramids, like you were saying, like all the geometric and crazy shit that aligns with like different constellations and the earth and earth frequencies and shit. Like I can't think that a primitive society in that way would have had so much knowledge of the universe, would have so much knowledge of the planet they were on, if they didn't have some kind of like connection to extraterrestrials. I don't know. That sounds crazy.
No, not at all.
You don't think so?
No. This universe is way too vast for us to be the only entities within this universe.
It's ridiculous. Isn't it?
Look, we've been prepped for aliens for a very long time. You know what I mean? And they are here among us.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
Like in the government or just like in general?
Just in general. They've interweaved into our society, and I mean, I was watching. I haven't had cable in years, but I was over at my dad's house watching TV, and an insurance company had a spaceship come in with an alien, and he's all cool, and
Yeah.
he's like, "Hey, this is," and I'm like, "Wow, they're really trying to integrate here." You know, okay,
Yeah.
that's cool. Like, hey, we're all energy. I mean, aliens, whatnot. That's down at our basic molecular structural. We're energy vibrating around. So
Yeah.
like that's why I can feel when my wife is very unhappy with me, because we're connected and that
Yeah.
vibrational, you can
Yeah.
just feel that.
I know what you mean.
So, you know, I mean, we've been sending stuff out into space for eons and eons and eons. They've been here. They've had connection with us. It's been covered up. They've had people within the government, working for the government and private sector, that have come out and given testimony and indisputable proof that this has been the case.
Yeah.
And it just all gets covered up because either they believe that we cannot handle it as a society, that there are other entities out there other than the human race, or, you know, we're on flat Earth and we're being controlled by aliens that are underneath Earth, and there's a big globe that goes over the Earth, and the sun and the moon do figure eights. And
Do you put any weight into that? Into the flat
dude,
Earth
you know
thing?
what, dude? Honestly, I do not discredit anything.
Yeah.
I don't, because you know what though? Everything in this world is on perception. Everything is on perception, and it's our own perceptions. You know, I mean, are we hooked into the Matrix?
That's a question I often wonder myself.
You know, are we just power supplies for
Yeah.
alien, and we're in our
Oh.
own little bliss? Although I don't know if I would call this a bliss, you know, but they have to make it.
It's the Matrix. It's not the bliss part. Oh no, it is the bliss part.
Yeah, I
Like-
mean, we're supposed to be enjoying this because they want us to be reckless and so on and so forth, and consume and not have second thoughts about what we're doing, especially to this world.
Just
Like, we're
feed the
destroying
machine.
the Earth. Yeah, the machines, the rise of the machines, they're coming for us now.
Yeah.
But seriously, we need to be careful with what we're doing with the Earth, because
Absolutely.
we're going to destroy where we are able to sustain life.
I know, man.
And not to say that there aren't other planets out there that we can sustain life, but why should we want to destroy anything?
Exactly.
That's the sad part. Like, we have the ability to not rely on fossil fuels, to not rely on things that
It's
destroy this
ridiculous.
earth, and we're still doing it. But why? It all boils back down to that dollar. It all boils back down to that greed.
Yeah.
That's all it is,
I
man.
agree
If
with
we
you,
all
man.
stood up together and said, no, we don't want to destroy the earth. No, we don't want to run on fossil fuels anymore. We want to take care of the earth. We want to take care of the earth for our generations and generations to come.
Absolutely. Here's the thing about that. I think that we've kind of set up our society in a way where this is the way it is. We have ExxonMobil running the game. We have Shell running the game. We have all these energy manufacturing companies running the game, and all these jobs associated with it, all this infrastructure associated with fossil fuels. And the idea of like getting that out of that into like maybe some solar shit or
Dude, they made engines that run off of water.
water. I've seen this. The guy
Water.
drove across the country on
Yeah,
water.
yeah.
But the idea of implementing this in society, with the amount of people's livelihoods that revolve around this fossil fuel game, like there's gonna have to be some kind of transition away from that, where you're gonna be able to put food on these people's tables.
Hemp.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, the
But what do you
hemp
do
industry.
about the scientist or whoever's involved in this like infrastructure
They
now?
get into hemp.
Like, fuck you, bitch. Like, now you're gonna have to do what we say, and you're gonna have to go this way, even though you went to school for this shit. You went to school for diesel mechanics.
We all have to educate to further ourselves, and
How are they
going
gonna put food on their
bettering
table?
society? We go towards hemp. They go towards a hemp-based fuel. They go towards hemp products. They go towards hempcrete. They go towards hemp textiles. They go towards hemp paper.
Right.
They go towards all of these hemp products, which will alleviate the need for oil and destroying our earth.
Good.
That's what we will do to supplement income for these people that have that. And you know what, though? I'm sorry you have to go get more education. As I dip into a new field or whatnot, or you're not even losing your job. You just have to do things a different way for the company that you're working for, is all it boils down to, if we truly want to take care of our earth.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what it needs to boil down to. We are destroying the earth with all of our processes.
Yeah, we are.
All of our processes of our luxury items. And we can't keep doing that.
No, absolutely not.
I mean, look at all the ice. It's melting. And how do you think that, you know, we're going to have areas for our increasing society to live if we keep destroying our ozone and our air?
It almost seems like we're gonna have to go to another planet.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
seriously.
they're I'm sure researching that and so on
Elon
and so
Musk
forth.
and like these kind of people that are like actually looking into like colonizing other planets. Like SpaceX had a thing, they were looking for people to like go to Mars and like colonize Mars. Like, is that something that you would do knowing that you could never come back? Like, would you go to another planet and
Probably
try to be
not.
the first people to colonize another planet?
No, I wouldn't want to.
And what makes you think that we're not going to fuck this planet up the same way we did this one? Like, why are we to believe that we're going to go and just make it amazing on another planet when we've seen our history of what we do on this planet? I guess the one thing that you could say is, like, maybe you wouldn't have these, like, oligarchs or whatever you want to call them, these, like, corporate entities that make the path available for all this fossil fuels and all the shit that's fucking up the planet. A different kind of people with more conscience could go colonize another planet and do things in a more environmentally and sustainable way. Like, would you want to be one of those people who would do that on another planet?
I don't think I'd want to do it on another planet. I think when I go to my higher self, I'll end up choosing what I want to do if I've learned everything I needed to on this planet. But I don't think I'd want to go colonize another planet and start over from scratch. I mean, what was that movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger when he went?
Yeah, Total Recall.
Total Recall. You know, that stuff just freaks me out right there.
Yeah.
You know,
The lady with the 3 breasts, the whole thing.
yeah, but yet again, I mean, it's just another way of them making things normal for us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think it's interesting. I've always been interested in the supernatural and
Me too, man.
Space.
Yeah.
It's always intrigued me. I've always enjoyed researching things like that. Even though I'm not a big reader, since the videos and stuff came out, I definitely started
that guy
enjoying
too,
that. Yeah, my ADD definitely did not allow me to sit down and read a good book until I learned how to deal with that naturally too, which is weird. Coffee actually helped me with that. And it actually helped my son out with that too.
With what?
With ADD.
Coffee does?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
It
because
makes you focus more?
all ADD meds are is just speed.
Uppers. Yeah.
It's speed. So coffee is an upper.
I guess it is, yeah.
And it actually, we had to get a doctor's note for my son to drink coffee in elementary school rather than take narcotics.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it was insane. I mean, they gave him all kinds of stuff, and he was talking about killing himself, and then he'd go black, and he wouldn't talk to anybody, and we were like, this is just insane. So I went to my doctor. I'm like, is there any natural way that we can deal with this? And she's like, well, I'm like, can we try coffee? She's like, yeah, we can try coffee. I'm like, look, we're going to need a doctor's note because they're not going to allow my kid in elementary school to drink a cup of Joe.
Fucking crazy. Like,
is.
they'll let your kid in school with drugs, though,
Mhm.
right? Like, if they
Yep.
if they want to get, like, a prescription of some
Yeah, but you have to
pharmaceutical-
have the doctor's note there, too.
But
And
coffee's the big deal?
coffee is a big deal in elementary school. They don't, as far as the government issued what's acceptable for them to consume in school, it doesn't fall under the parameters of what's acceptable.
Which is fucking absolutely insane.
Yeah, because our ideals of what's acceptable and not acceptable has been pushed upon us since we are born, pretty much.
Yeah.
Our impressionable minds, all of this stuff, the TV commercials, and
Oh, yeah.
I mean, growing up, a hunk of cheese.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
all of this stuff makes you think that, oh, this is great. All this stuff is awesome. We need to follow these rules. We need to conform to all of
Yeah.
this stuff to be accepted in society. And why should we break away and do something unique and
programming.
abnormal? Yeah, we need to consume, and we need to just throw things away, and that's our
You
society.
you can't have this society with how many people are on this planet? Like there's like what, billions, right?
Yeah.
Now like 6 billion people or something like that. If we're all gonna live in this way where we all just consume and consume and consume and just throw shit away and throw shit away and throw shit away, like, yo, where's that really gonna lead? You have to wonder to yourself.
Oh, it's going to lead to the Earth shaking us off like fleas. All the Earth has to do is move a platelet, and we are done. Everybody's done. That's all that needs to happen.
It's like that Tool song, Anima. You ever hear that?
Yeah. So there are scriptures, and that they found that warn us against superseding a certain population on Earth. So
What's the population?
I think it was 5 billion.
I think we're at like 6 point something now. That might be wrong. I don't know. But
So I mean, you know, we're cockroaches. We reproduce like crazy.
I know.
And unfortunately, more people are born than are dying. So we're just, before we know it, every usable resource on this planet is going to be gone. And that's where they started doing GMOs and growing meat in laboratories and
Fuck
so on
that.
and so forth. But before you know it, dude, that's all that's going to be available, because we are just destroying the earth and every creature on it.
well, if I were to find something good in that, like a silver lining, that it would be that I know a lot of people personally. Like I have a lot of friends who are like very people of character, and they're people that would raise their kids in a way to be conscious of shit like this. And I feel like the more people that we're having this conversation like we're having now, and just kids that are conscious of this kind of thing and like raised in the ability to have like critical thinking skills, I feel like that's the way to pave the future to what we're looking for, rather than just like, you know.
But that's a consistent thing. Like, you have to be consistent in your upbringing, and that you can't just, you know, be a parent in the beginning and, you know, show them that type of conformity and then not continue that education with them, because going through the school system, they're being told
I know.
and taught a completely different belief
know.
system. It's
I know.
scary, you know. I mean, look at the way that they're teaching math nowadays.
Common Core.
Dude, look, my second, third grader came home with math, and I looked at him and said, you know what, buddy?
You're on your own, pal.
I am ignorant to this. I don't know what the heck. There's
Yeah.
like 19 steps here. I can
I know,
show
it's-
you in a
it's-
2-step process. What the heck is it? No, I got to show my work when I go to school. Okay. So I actually contacted the school, and we were like, look, you know, I actually feel kind of stupid saying this, but I cannot do second grade math. So can you help my kid? Because unfortunately, I can't at this point. And are you going to tutor me on how to do this? And why have we changed this? Like, what was the necessary means to
have a
adding
conspiracy
20
theory.
steps to this?
I have a conspiracy theory. I think it's because the government is trying to attain control over our kids. So they want to make it in a way where we can't relate to our kids anymore. And the government is the father, the government is the mother, the government is the parents. And it kind of takes us out of the equation, and it makes the government, and then they can tell them that fuck all these cannabis, fuck all kratom, fuck all, throughout the whole spectrum, and they can give them their idea of reality, and the government can look at and the kids can grow up with that government-based reality and be in more of this system where it's just work and consume. All you got to be concerned with is getting the job, getting the money, buying the Nike Air Jordans, then you get all the chicks, and just work and consume and shut the fuck up. And that seems to be like the kind of message that we're receiving from the media, from the government, and they want to get the parents out of the way so they can push that message. The ego-driven, just ego. Live in your ego. Be better than everybody. You're important. You're the man. Fuck everybody else. And if everybody lives like that, we never unite. We never be a community. And it's just like each individual person on its own, because the government told me that, and this is where we go. This
Do
is where we
whatever
are.
you need to survive. Step
Yep.
on whatever throat you need
Fuck
to
it.
survive. Who cares about people? We need to get, use. It's scary. And like you said, as a human race, we need to stand together and love each other and treat each other like we are
Yeah, man.
family, dude. Like, because we are family. We're
That's
all
right.
one, man. And it's sad that people don't live that way. Man, you have to treat yourself as you're the other person. Like, you really want to have the best benefit for that other person sitting across from you, even if they're not a friend, even if they're a foe. Like, I've had a lot of people go against me in my life. You know, you forgive them, you don't forget it. It doesn't mean that I'm all chummy with them and stuff like that, but, you know, I know better. You know, I've learned what I needed to. Me and this person had a contract when we were up at our higher selves for them to teach me a lesson. And I learned that lesson, and I moved on. You know, I mean, I don't have any ill will towards these people. I just know what I need to do, and that is take care of my fellow souls in this world. You know, we have to love each other. We have to. If you don't, we're failing before we even start. You know, and that's the sad part. And like you said, is we're in a V for Vendetta situation. Scare tactics are conforming people, and that's what you're talking about. If you look at every time something goes wrong, where the government or the entities that control the government do something wrong, next thing you know, there's going to be a killer clown that comes up on the news, and that's hitting everybody's neighborhood, and all of a sudden the attention's taken away from that and brought to this killer clown. You know, it's set up to, like you said, take our free thinking spirit and all the way down to fluoride.
Seems like that.
Killing our pineal gland and our brain.
Man.
You know, we're set up to just be those robots to conform and do what they want us to do, rather than stand up and work together to better ourselves in this world. Look, man, my wife and I want to get to a point where we can just not worry about our bills and then go out and help people in need.
I would love to do that too.
You know, and that's what it should be for everybody. You know, like I said to you before, a lot of that, you say what you want about the cannabis community. Say all that you want. I don't care. I've been a part of this cannabis community, Canna family forever. You know, I mean, and we're a family. Family makes mistakes, and, you know, you need to be adult enough to admit your mistakes and keep moving on. But, you know, we all need to be there for each other and just love each other like the cannabis family does. You know, there may be turmoil, there may be arguments, but deep down inside, we all have that one love. We all want to have the same goals. We all want to be able to legalize plants and these things out in nature that will help us even mentally, psilocybin, any other natural root out there, so on and so forth. To expand our minds and be able to bring ourselves and open up our brains. We're only in 20% of our brains, to a point where we can actually affect society in a positive way, where we're going to thrive as a society. We're going to rebuild this earth. I mean, there's one couple that bought a completely woodcut area and then refilled it with trees over their life. You know, and that's an amazing thing, because we need oxygen to survive. So, you know, everybody's like, oh, you know, even if I put in effort, it's not going to do anything. No, you're wrong. Like, if we all put in our individual efforts, we can create huge change together. And I'm not...
Be the change.
A lot of people don't agree with me as far as my government standpoint about, you know, the judicial system and how government works is the best way for us. And they believe that and have faith that works that way. I don't believe that. I believe that it's all set up to keep us at a divide.
I agree with you, man.
We cannot stand together if we're arguing over a stupid wall. Look, everybody is immigrants. Who's immigrants? Who's not immigrants here? Indians and the Mexicans.
That's it.
That's it. Everybody else is an immigrant here, you know, and we need to take care of each other. What happened? We jammed the Indians into one little area, and then we decided, oh, you know what? We're going to run our oil pipes through your private land.
What is that?
It's nonsense. It's ridiculous. It's, yet again, it's greed, and if you have money, you can do whatever you want to do, and that's what it boils down to. And now they're destroying these poor people's land. I mean, literally, a country that was vast and beautiful. Yeah, not to say that Indians didn't have war, but you know what, though? It was a different way of life, though. You know what I mean? They had respects. There were
for the
people,
planet.
Yeah, you know what I mean? They wanted they knew that this was the way that they were going to survive, and the plants and the animals that were there, that's how they were going to survive.
They lived in unison with the earth.
Exactly.
Like, they didn't just, like we were saying earlier, you go through a Burger King drive-through and get a half a cheeseburger and throw it away. Like, when they killed an animal, they would sit around and pray and ask for this spirit, the animal spirits, for permission to eat that, and they would use every aspect. They appreciated the Mother Earth. Like, we don't live like that anymore. we just go through, KFC drive-through, and here you go, fuckface, and you just thank you, and just like nobody gives a shit anymore. And
What? No napkins, no ketchup.
no,
I mean,
nothing, and we just completely disconnected ourselves from the appreciation of these animals' lives that had to give their lives, or whatever, the plants' lives, or whatever it is.
Dude, plants are alive too. You
Yeah.
know, and a lot of people argue with that. Hey, plants are alive too, and you're killing plants. You are true, but my intentions when I'm eating a plant, every time I sit down for a meal, I thank what I'm eating for giving its life for
I need
my
to do that
nourishment.
more. Yeah.
Like every single time while I'm eating, I'm saying thank you for giving your life. Because it was alive and it did grow to sustain me. But if you believe in religion, God put out bearing plants and herbs here for us to use. And that goes along with that. Everything has a consciousness. Everything is connected in one way or another. And when you take some form of mind expansion, you feel that connection.
Yeah, you do.
I felt that connection on such a powerful level. It's just beyond me. It's beyond all of us. This world is, and our own little problems are so minuscule when you really back up and really look
The
at
universe.
everything. Yeah, let's show the alien race because it's out there, folks. And if you don't want to believe it, that's your own problem. But when they do pop up, don't look at me and go, look, we told you so, because they're out there.
I agree with you.
And we need to prove to them that we're worthy of this earth. I ended up watching this movie called Jupiter Rising, which is, it's not real, but basically it gave the premises that we came from a different solar system, and we were brought here. We were
This is fascinating.
brainwashed. Like, we pretty much had amnesia, and we put on this planet. They wiped out the dinosaurs for us.
Really?
And then we were put on this planet. And that was going along with your Ice Age conversation that you were having earlier. The aliens came down, and they actually helped these different societies build the tombs underneath the ground to survive. And they were really researching it. And all the air channels that they have set up through all of these pockets and so on and so forth, there's no way that these people could have done this. They did not have. We don't have the technology today to do this stuff easy.
Yeah.
Okay, so like, if you really take a look back, I think there's some truth in a lot of religions and so on and so forth, and all of this stuff out there, because it is a depiction of what was going on at that point. And like some of these people are saying, that they maybe weren't gods, they were aliens from different solar systems or whatnot, and then go to the Bermuda Triangle, and nothing goes in or goes out. However, that could be a portal for spaceships to come in and come out.
That could be a ton of shit.
You just don't know. And everything that they've sent in there to do any kind of
It's all
diagnosis, nothing gets tracked. Nothing ever comes out. It's just a big, scary area that I'm glad I never came close to.
Yeah.
But I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, I don't discredit anything. Anything is possible in this world. Like I said, everything is on perception, and if you really take a step back and look at it, rather than putting out negative vibes in the world, like my wife and I went to the pet store to get treats, and I backed up, and I got into my lane, and this woman came into the parking lot in the outgoing lane and looked at me and called me an asshole, and like I literally felt her anger, like she was wicked pissed at me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm in the right lane, but if that makes me an asshole, I'm an asshole.
Just be the asshole.
But she was so mad, like, over just me being in that lane. Like, it's scary that her life is that bad where she deflects all that negativity.
I've been that guy before,
outward.
though. As much as I like want to be like, yeah, I know, fuck this lady. Like, I've been that guy. Have you ever been like, just like, you're in your own shit and you're in your own world and shit's going wrong for you, and it's just like one thing after another, and now you're driving in traffic, and now a guy cuts you off, and now he's the fucking enemy. You ever been in that situation?
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and I still deal with it. It's dealing with your emotions, you know, being able to
manage that shit.
Yeah, like they could have had a crappy day. They could be, have got stuck somewhere, so on and so forth. That's why I try not to take offensively what somebody may do to me negatively, because I'm not aware of their situation either, dude. They could have just lost their wife. They could have just lost a loved one.
You can't get played at the same time, too.
I'm not saying to get played, but I'm also not saying to rebuttal that negativity to that person.
And bring it to the level that it doesn't have to go
No,
to.
because
Right?
all
I
you
know
have
what
to do
you're
is
saying.
put a little kindness in
Yeah.
it, and it may change their outlook on things.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody just crapped on them like
Probably
a
a lot of
mile
shit
ago,
happened.
and you look like the dude that almost ran them off the road.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? You don't know. You know what I mean? So I mean, you just got to step back and try and keep a positive outlook and try and be as positive about things. Is it feasible all the time? No.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's positive all the time, but
really difficult.
everybody has it worse. Somebody has it worse out there than you do.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody always has it worse than you do. If you can focus your abilities on what you have positive in your world, then it's gonna leave less room for the negativity, less room for the dark. You want to shine your light. I've lived my life two different ways, completely different ways. And I found by sharing my light with people and sharing my positivity and opening myself up and giving to people, even when I really didn't have anything to give, I got a lot more back, which I'm not looking for anything back, but I got a lot more back than when I was self-driven, looking to have all these material things
And
in
the
life.
ego.
My ego, it was a huge problem.
Me too, man.
I had my ego deaths.
Yeah.
And
me too.
but it grows back. You need to
Yeah.
keep that ego in
gotta
check, man. And that's another
snip it
thing with
off.
that emotion is keeping your ego in check.
Mm-hmm.
If you can just be like, I'm not better than anybody else, really.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes it easier for you to let that person go ahead of you. It makes
That's
it
right. It
easier
doesn't
for
matter.
you to be
It's just
sympathetic
like,
to somebody else. Yeah.
Fuck it. And I think that's a very great way to end the show. What time is it right now, Brian?
It is 8:03. I mean,
Okay.
so good
Okay,
hitting
is that a
out.
good thing? All right, so it's awesome to end it on that positive note, man.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
that was a very fascinating conversation because I love that you're into aliens and spirituality and all this shit because I'm that same guy. I've always been obsessed with this shit, X-Files, shit on the Discovery Channel. This is just like constantly. That's the shit I'm attracted to. So when you start bringing this shit up, I'm like, yeah. And just like all the stuff about like empathy and the ego and all this stuff, dude, I'm right on your page. So that was fantastic. So we have Kevin from
Kind Clean.
Kind Clean. And what is that? Tell us a little bit about that.
So we're a grow room decontamination restoration solution service.
Okay.
Basically, we work with any growers, small or bigger, not big. Yet again, we're not out here to work with the big conglomerates, the big businesses. We're here for the smaller guys.
Good.
We're here to help them get to a point, the micro businesses get to a point where they're making a positive impact, because a lot of them are going organic too, which we're
Good.
huge into organics, and we support a lot of our growers who are organic, and all of our processes are 100% organic. The only time it's not organic is the people that we're working with do not want us to use our organic processes, which I've not had that happen yet. But we try to convert them and show them why it's better to use an organic process rather than a chemical process.
That's awesome.
We do everything from consulting to build outs, rebuilds, decontamination, restorations, any issue that they may have. If they need a master grower to come in and give them some direction, we have some people that we have on consulting status to be able to come in and help these people out on a growing point of view. I've grown and my wife has grown, but I'm not an expert at all. But thankfully, we have some great people that we've worked with over the period of the time that we've been involved in the community that will come out and work with you and show you the best way to get the cleanest product to your customers and to the people that you help out.
I appreciate that, man. That's an awesome service to provide to the community, man, and that's fantastic. And I appreciate you having you on. And
Thank
that
you.
was an awesome conversation.
Thank
and
you.
Next week we're gonna have Carnell back. He's
Mr. Carnell
That's right. He's gonna be back from Florida.
down in Florida getting his back all
Yeah.
burnt up and everything.
He's got his feet up.
Oreo sitting there.
Must be a
Pooping
tough
everywhere.
life, bro.
Oh
Sorry.
yeah, I'm sure.
I feel really bad. So next week is going to be a fantastic show. And anybody who tuned in, you guys are all the best, and I appreciate
We love
everybody
ya.
for that. We love everybody. And check out Kind Clean.
Yes.
Kevin over here. And tune into the show next week. And salutations. Everybody's fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
won't wanna be there for you until they're not there for you. Until they approach that line and their mind pollute. Conclusions of grandeur and fear assumes. No wonder we're broken and bruised, feeling consumed. Despair and tarnished, fucked up and used. Lord, will we ever know? Oh no, I think it might be time for you to go away. Oh